Hey, once again. Bam! Get rid of you, Pedro, you mother trucker. Right, I'm BoredGamer. I haven't been streaming for a couple of weeks because I've been depressed and sad, and lots of shitty things have happened, which I might talk about later. But people know if they've been following my Twitter anyway. A couple of questions already in. I asked you in the Discord, how's your X56 HOTAS holding up? Can we get a 2 years later review video of it? I'm looking to get a HOTAS for Star Citizen. The X56 seems like a good choice to me, especially the new 2018 one from Logitech. I haven't been able to try their actual new one, although it would be probably a good idea for me to try and grab one at some point. I have been sent the Virpil Delta Constellation, 2 sticks and throttle, so I will talk about that and compare it to other HOTAS I've used, like the X56, and talk about how it's held up, which is it's held up fine. Typically, if you have a problem with an X55 or an X56, typically it's a problem that you get upon opening the package. There is a problem with it immediately, or they're fine for ages. But I'm sure there's edge cases which are different. Beta 2020, that's actually what I think, quite genuinely. So, yeah. If anyone wants to ask a question about my channel, about me, about Star Citizen, about whatever, I'll try and give it a fucking good answer. Question in brackets. So, there's been a lot of the news over the last few days. Calling all devs, they've talked about 600i changes. They've talked about getting the missiles working better. They need to actually convert missiles and countermeasures and thrusters over to the new system, and then missiles should work a bit better. That's one of the things. Quantum travel and HUD markers. We're going to have more map markers on the HUD. So what I mean by that actually is more contextual based HUD markers. So you'll be able to look at a glance. Oh, that's a mining facility. Oh, that's an area where I can go and find fuel. That sort of stuff. NPC purchases are going to be a thing as well, more like experiences. When you go to like a bar, you can buy something straight off an NPC, or you can go into a back alley and trade with someone to get some sort of like a pistol in a secure area that you wouldn't able to get normally. Around the verse, there was a few little bits in there. The Vandal Plasma Staffs were pretty cool. Face over IP and voice over IP is coming along very nicely for 3.3. They talked about improved mining and asteroid mining as well, coming in 3.3. Asteroid mining looks like mining on the ground, but in 0G.
Tricksy little hobbits.
Oh, thank you very much. Method. Very much appreciated for the sub. Reverse the Verse and the letter from the chairman. So Chris Roberts appeared on Reverse the Verse and also posted a big letter addressing loads and lots of different things. First off, they talk about the new IFCS system. So, they want to overhaul the current flight model to be better, because it's not working as intended. Chris isn't happy with it. Don't know why I'm wearing headphones, don't need to. It's very hot in my room, very hot in the UK at the moment. Yeah, so he wants to have that overhauled. They don't want ships to be as mobile when it comes to turning so easily. They want there to be a bit of a curve on it. Not too much of a curve, but they want maneuvers to be important rather than just I'm in a super agile ship, lols. And they want all ships to have like a distinct feel and vibe to them. The Xi'an ships should be really good at that strafe and mobility fighting, whereas Hornet should be a bit it's going to be tanky, it's going to have heavy firepower, but it's going to be a bit more slower turning circle sort of thing. But not a really, really bad one. And they don't want huge ships to have like the best turning cycles either. They want them to have to think about maneuvers a bit more. And then piloting actually becomes more skilled. And then they have hopefully a better flight model for it. So there is a dedicated team now working on the IFCS model. And we will know more soon. Hopefully being deployed by the end of the year in full. Ship renting in the persistent universe is going to be a thing. It's aimed for 3.3. It might be ship purchasing and ship rental. Which would be good. It doesn't matter to me which is in. If it's in the persistent universe and there's a way to obtain ships in the persistent universe for everyone, that is great. That is awesome. Go team. Water, we don't know the interaction level we're going to have with water in 3.3, but it won't be much. You're going to have water on at least planet Hurston, and it's going to have wave simulation, and it's probably going to look pretty cool, but eventually we'll be able to have boats, eventually we'll be able to swim, eventually ships will be able to land on it, some of them be buoyant and float along and stuff. But 3.3, don't really know what interaction we're going to have other than it will probably be a kill box. Most likely, Video content, they're still experimenting with video content. Expect to see long featurettes when it comes to certain mechanics, but less of them. So that'll be when they finish the medical mechanics in a bit more detail. They will talk big deep dive video on it, that sort of stuff. Mining, they'll talk about big deep dive on the concept of mining originally, how it's evolved, what it's going to be looking at, how it's going to evolve in the future, their plans for that sort of stuff. That's the sort of features you'll see going forward. They are still testing their video content though. I think calling all devs and around the verse, pretty good. Getting pretty good. I'd like a little bit more content around the verse, but better than, an hour's worth of content that was only really 15 minutes. And then now they're getting just lots and lots of content. Also, the things they do with like game design, reverse the verse, they're pretty cool. When they have an interview with someone with a particular discipline, typically game design ones, they're great. But just playing the game is a bit meh for me. But that's me personally. I'm sure some people like it. I want to be informed. I want news to norm up. I want to be told about the project. I want to be told about the current intentions for things. There was well, we'll talk about that in a minute, actually. Let me write that down to talk about the roadmap leak. Object container streaming as well. That's coming along pretty well, apparently. Chris envisions, potentially by the end of the year, I think, 200 people in servers. Object container streaming is part of making that a thing. It enables them to be significantly more efficient when it comes to resources with your RAM and your graphics card, and there's loads of underlying tech going on with that and loads of other optimizations as well. But object container streaming 3.3, big focus. It's great that we're getting it this year, but I suppose they need it to be able to continue with the rest of the game and capital ships and stuff. So monthly report stuff. Big monthly report released. Check through my summary of that if you're interested. Ship rentals, underground bunkers, blind culling complete. Those are some of the sort of things that were in it. But check that out. It's always good now that we're getting erratic ATVs. The last couple have actually been pretty good, but previous to that, they were quite small and we weren't getting much information. The monthly report really helps inform people. Some other stuff. So 3.2.2 was released, which is literally just a fix grenades.
Oh, beautiful.
Angels sister. I don't know how to read your name. Your name. Angels Chatton, Star Citizen. Angels Chatton. Thank you very much for whatever your name is. Thank you very much for the bits. Very much appreciated. Yeah, 3.2.2 was released. It just fixed grenade bugs. That's it. I think they did some logging in there as well, actually. 3.3, the new release date of 3.3, and every third quarter release is going to be at CitizenCon. So this year it will be at the 10th of October. This is basically 10 days later than was previously announced at the end of September. So end of September's release is now going to be early to mid-October. CitizenCon, they're holding some stuff back that they haven't showed us yet for it, and they've sort of like hinted that there might be a few things they show, like a new flight model, things like that. There's been a general roadmap leak as well last week, and basically with that roadmap leak, they accidentally showed off the roadmap before they had finished putting bits in places. What I mean by that is that they've moved some stuff around. They've put 3.6 out on the roadmap. They've put server meshing that was in 3.4 into 3.6. Now that might not be true. All this might change. 3.3 salvaging, repair, and refueling, that all moved out of 3.3, which actually seems reasonable because 3.3's got a lot of stuff in it still. They've been messing around and putting some more things in there. Still having like FPS AI and stuff like that in there. But check that roadmap out if you're interested. Oh, thank you very much for the chuff. I am mostly concerned regarding the different careers. Most of them seem to be consisting of boring chores like mining. What do you think? Well, at the moment, you're right. At the moment, Star Citizen in the game is pretty boring after you've done everything. Because there's like maybe, if you stretch it out, 20 to 30 hours of actual tangible things you can do in the persistent universe that don't require you searching with a group of people or searching for your own fun, saying, I'm going to make up a thing to do today. Or I'm going to do racing just with this person, or would have to have an org or group with. I want there to be thousands of hours of single player content or content that I can find if I'm solo. I can just jump in, don't have to think about a group before I jump in, can get a group in game straight away or something like that. I want, and I need all those gameplay loops. So at the moment, 100%, there is boring chores to be done. I wouldn't refer to it as boring chores. There's not gameplay loops. There's no impetus to play. There's no reason to earn money. I've been playing lots of Rend recently, so boring chores are a totally different level than you can consider after spending 8 hours harvesting bushes. But it's for the good of the faction. I'll talk about Rend actually probably a bit later. But no, at the moment, yeah, Star Citizen, lacking gameplay loops, great proof of concept, very pretty, very cool. They're just starting to deliver though. They're just starting to add those gameplay loops. They've got the rest of the core tech coming this year. You could argue server meshing also is core tech, and we don't know when that's coming now. Hopefully, starting to be implemented before the end of the year, or the groundwork there. But object-oriented streaming, last of the major core tech. Again, server meshing, but we'll talk about server meshing in the future. But thank you very much for your question. Also, please feel free to ask questions about whatever. But I think 2020, we're going to have a beta, is what my expectation, like end of 2020, probably a beta for the game. And I expect most of the gameplay loops to be in there in a relatively good state. They'll still need work, definitely. There won't be a huge gameplay area, there might be a few systems. And there will definitely need to be a lot of work done on the game still. But that's my expectation. But no one wants a boring Star Citizen. But I suspect some of the roles will be very, very boring for certain people. Like mopping the floor in a starship. Oh, in Idris. What do you see? What do you want to see out of the new 300i rework? Sorry if this has been asked. Just to take lots of direction from the 600 series. The 600 is a beautiful ship. It's very minimalist, and that's what the 300 and Origin ships should be. They should be very, very pretty, expensive-looking cars in space, basically, that are very minimalist, but scream luxury. So I want them to take lots of input from the 600 series with like the nacelle bits and stuff. Now, I don't actually like the way the wings link up, but I think they're going to use some of the idea of the 600i nacelles in the 300 series rework, just at least the shapeology of it. And they're making it more curved, and they're making it less spiky. It's not angled, I suppose is the word. What's the best joystick for Star Citizen? Now, that's a good question. So, I need to review these Virpal sticks. The Virpal sticks that I've been playing with, they're pretty fucking amazing. Virpal. Noobifier, I think, has his review of them up. Virpal Constellation Delta. Let me link you these bad boys. Yes, he does. Of course he fucking does. He also has showing off. Oh, cool. But check those out on the Virpal site. They're basically flight sticks with space sims in mind, and they're very high quality, and they're modular, and they're cool. But I will do a proper review of that. Best joystick is very dependent. Now, these are left and right-handed, which is great, but there are going to be joysticks based on your hand size that are better for you. There's going to be the placement of the buttons based on the size of your thumbs and stuff. It's going to be down to personal preference a bit. So listen to a few reviews and sort of like make a checklist of stuff that you want ticked, and see that they should mention what size hands they're for, small, medium, and large hands. I will probably come up with I'll make sure I mention that in any videos I do of that. Also, things like engineers on fighting ships and consoles. Am I? I've been better, so I'm feeling a lot better now. My cat died recently. For people that don't know, my cat was pretty much the fucking world to me. I've still got. I had 2 cats, and I've only got 1. But the other one's sort of like my brother's cat, and she has been. On the first day that my cat died, I gave her so much fucking love. Like I overly loved this cat, and this cat is the most jealous, requires love all the time cat, and she was literally panicking when she saw me because I was obviously like, I love you. But but it's pretty shitty. My other cat died, Niff. I've got some videos of him. We're putting that up on Patreon and talking a bit about that. Patreon and the new join system. A little bit of the videos you're going to get are going to be vlogs from me, because I'm going to do some exclusive content. They're going to be vlogs from me, and some of it's going to be talking about my mental health a little bit, because it's a good platform for me to vent and talk about it. Eventually, I want to talk a bit more about mental health and my not particularly difficult struggle with mental health compared to a lot of people, but I want to talk about what I've had to put, what I've been through, and hopefully that may help some people. Because one of the things I always say for me is that I always know it's going to be better. If I'm at the bottom of a terrible depressed spiral, or I'm super anxious or whatever, I know I'm going to be better eventually. So and that sort of like keeps you going. Very prepared for the shittiness of my cat dying. It was just a terrible shock. It was like, oh, that's really unfair. I wonder if I could have done something to save him, basically. Or maybe I shouldn't have done this. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. But I didn't have any regrets with that cat at all. I had regrets of stuff before, but I treated every day like it was his last. Like I fucking loved that cat. It's pretty shitty. But you know, life goes on, and I'll yeah. Will users be able to rent their own ships out? I believe that is the intention in the future. Yeah, a lot of people are buying ships with that intention. It's the idea. Basically said that you'll be able to lend ships to org mates and potentially rent them out. So that's what the expectation is. Stuff changes though, but I'm expecting it. What do you think exploration will be like? How do you think selling the information you gather works in space? So they've actually talked a bit about, they've got systems starting to come in place now for bundling information together and selling it, and like selling data. Don't exactly know how that's going to work, but they have stuff in motion for that. So I expect you'll be able to go to an area, you'll be able to go mark this location, and you'll be able to collect information on that area. So you'd be able to do it for surveying a site for a potential base. To go there, you'd survey the materials, you'd mark the location, say I found this with these resources nearby, and you could sell that as a packaged piece of information. Potentially could sell like asteroid fields, where asteroid field is, stuff like that. Exploration, however, will be multiple things and cross over into science and some of the other stuff as well. So exploration missions might be to collect loads of plants from a particular planet, or go and look at an anomaly or something. Oh, there's a weird anomaly, or something weird here. Can you go and collect some data on it, or whatever? So that's the basic like exploration-y, mission-y things. But exploration needs long-range scanning to come together before we know too much about the deeper level intentions for it. But the idea is that you have these incredibly long-range ships like the Carrack, and you'll go out and you'll be able to find potentially new wildlife, new planets, new jump points, and things like that. Now, it's a big thing, because not everyone's going to be able to do that, surely. And that's true. So there needs to be a lot of other cool things to find and explore. And the systems are massive. So you can have loads of cool stuff in a system to find. Ships for salvage, little weird alien artifacts, lots and lots and lots and lots of things that are in a single system. So it doesn't have to all be in new systems. And even the planets are massive. So you can have planets, you can find potentially new wildlife, new plants, stuff like that. So it will be a big crossover with science. And they can do loads of cool anomalies and stuff like that as well. But when it comes to exactly how it's going to work, they have not told us properly yet. They've sort of like told us very, very rough level intentions. Off-topic question, I know how your kidney's doing. Feel free to ask anything like that. Nothing's an off-topic question. Ask what you want. I won't be offended by most questions either, so it's all good. It wasn't kidney stones. They don't know what's wrong, is an issue. It doesn't look like I'm in terrible danger of exploding or dying, but they do need to ultrasound me, so they might find out that I'm pregnant. So they're checking my bowels, they're checking around my kidneys, they're checking my liver, stuff like that. I don't feel particularly uncomfortable. Occasionally it's like someone stabbed me in one of my kidneys, and it's different on each side. I could just have developed really weird IBS. For all I know. Like, could be something pretty simple. I'll keep people updated. it was really worrying and terrifying earlier because I did have a kidney infection, and sort of all happened at the same time. So it could have just been the kidney infection passing, but I had pericarditis, so it felt like I couldn't catch my breath, and it felt like I was having a heart attack. And that's what actually had that. And then they said, then that's what they identified me having a kidney infection from, oddly. But it's just a load of little things that happened at the same time. My cat dying kind of put it in perspective. And I'm sorry that if some people think it's just a pet, get over it. Yeah, you've got to move on with life. I understand that. You don't want to dwell on sadness. You don't want to take away the love that you felt for something because you're overwhelmed by just grief. But he meant more to me than a lot of people would think. Like, I loved that cat. He was part of my routine. It was part of the way that I kept sane and less anxious and less depressed. So it was a big thing. And yeah. And because no one can tell me that I'm ever going to see it again or not. Like, I am actually Christian, and I do believe in an afterlife, and I don't give a fuck what anyone else's religion is. It's all good as long as you're not a dick. I think it's great, and I think everyone will pretty chill. Let's have humanity pretty chill, whatever people's outlooks on the afterlife are. However, it's just something that I'd love to be able to go, I know I'll see him again eventually, sort of thing. Condolences about your loss. Thank you very much. Appreciated. Sorry about your ailments. That's all good. Don't worry about it. Some people go through much worse than me, and that probably makes people do. It's life. You gotta deal with it. So, as much as you enjoy your videos, don't forget to take time out and rest and take care of yourself. Now, so I did take some time out, but the problem is I played in 3 days 50 hours of Rend with Cameron, one of my mates, and some other people as well. It's a 20v20 faction game that's like Rust and an MMO crossed together, and typically games last about a month, and there's a win condition. You've got to collect 100,000 souls, and then your team wins, and then you ascend, and then you can move on to another server if you want, and the other guys die. It's pretty cool, and the idea of it. Unfortunately, there's griefing in it from your own faction. And if your own faction grief you and literally team kill and hunt you down, and fuck around and steal the stuff from the main base, because there is literally a main headquarters that you share, because there's PvE attacks from like large waves of mobs every so often, twice a week I believe, and PvP attacks whenever they want, but there's shields that go down at certain times, so it's like a very organised affair. But if your own faction grief you and literally damage your team, it's just GG. There's no point in playing. So I played that for 4 days. There was this guy called King and 6 of his mates that came on literally just to grief and attack constantly. Blah, 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 blah. And it's like, oh, we can report him, but we can't kick him off the server. Well, that's GG. But Rend, it's just gone into early access. So once they fix stuff like that, it's going to be good. It's going to be a good game. With object container streaming being worked on, and network bind culling being worked on as well, when we start to see new star systems being implemented into the game? Good question. Next year, almost certainly. So bind culling is actually, network bind culling is completed now. It was in the monthly report, and object container streaming is making good progress as well. But they have near completed or done other star systems like Odin and things like that, I believe. But to have them actually implemented in the game is a totally different thing for multiplayer. So, yeah, I'm expecting next year we'll start to see another system and jump points properly. Feel free to, anyone is more than welcome to add me in Star Citizen, BoredGamer and BoredGamer UK, a couple of my accounts. One of those two will definitely work. I can't remember which one. Oh, I'm an Eve wanker as well. I love Eve. I play a lot of games. I look at a lot of games, even the super trash games, a lot of trashy games. I will actually find enjoyment in. And Eve is actually a pretty good game. And I hope that Star Citizen takes a lot of the good and the bad, the good with Eve, and learns from the bad with Eve. Do you think there is a potential that key features from 3.3 will get pushed back to early 2019, like object container streaming, Plant Art Corp, and Lorville? I don't think any of those particular features will, but I think we've basically seen that. So in the leaked roadmap, it looked like salvage, repair, refueling had been moved around. Bored, why is Chris Roberts tearing up IFCS again? Because it wasn't working properly. Yeah, and you know that better than anyone, Little Bit of Madness. You know that. You know it wasn't working. I don't think he's tearing it up in the same way as getting it sorted. So I'm hopefully going to be interviewing devs semi-regularly. It's my hope. I'm going to ask CIG if I can get a dev a month or something just to chat to, preferably game design and sort of like this sort of core concept design and stuff like that, and talk about ships maybe. If not, if that's off the table, then I hope that I can just poke people on the forums on Spectrum a lot more and get some answers for things like that. But
tricksy little
IFCS needs to be in a good place. The core combat of the game and the core flight model of the game needs to be done by the end of this year. 100% done, and with the potential of being able to tweak it very easily for balance. If they need to balance something, if they need to add something, if they need to change something because of something, it needs to be very, very, very done. So that's why it's getting torn up again. It might not be an entire new system. It sounds like they are just heavily overhauling the current one. Because it was too complicated. It was too complicated, and every time they tried to implement it, they implemented it poorly. And I'm pretty sure it was the implementation. I don't think there was anything wrong with John Pritchett's model, other than it was a bit too complicated, and they implemented it a bit just not correctly, and then stuff broke it constantly when when they dialed it in. It just kept broken by new patches. If they ditched the decoupled 6 degrees of freedom, there's a high probability a lot of people, including myself, will be looking into refunds. I think there will be a reasonable amount of 6 degrees of freedom. I just want a good game, you know? Not all ships will be able to do 6 degrees of freedom in a easy way while flying. So the idea is that Xi'an ships will be able to do it. Some of the light fighters will be able to do 6 degrees of freedom easily. But if you're in a heavier ship, you shouldn't be able to just go beep, 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 just really easily. It should be some turn, yeah? That makes sense? Maneuvers. I like the way that you're talking dirty work. I mean, I'm not trying to offend you, although feel free to take offense. I don't like it when people talk in sweeping generalizations of other people are going to be doing this. You don't know that. You know shit. I mean, that's clearly offensive. But you know what I mean? Like, I talking from your own point of view, I totally understand that. But saying lots of people are going to do this, or people are going to do this, well, we'll see. I just want a good game and a good system, and I don't mind waiting, as long as I can see they're not pissing away money frivolously or being stupid. And they've definitely been missteps. There's definitely been some inefficiency, but that's the problem with open development that they're doing, is that it's visible for the world to fucking see. And people will criticize it, but people will also see that what they're trying to do. So I'd rather have this model than not. It's obviously very, very good for funding. I'd like to start investing in joysticks, but with all these IFCS changes, back and forth, yeah. Don't invest in joysticks until we know more about IFCS, I suppose, is the other thing. Although I do really like the deltas at the moment. They'll probably do a version 2 maybe once we have all the buttons confirmed.
Dodging bullets like fucking...
Elfin, thank you very much for the bits. No, so what I'm showing here is the Squadron 42 demo from the end of last year. Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't bother with any new gear for Star Citizen until when it comes to joysticks or HOTAS, unless you're in love with a particular HOTAS, because some people are going to love certain ones and just go, well, this is going to be great, or this has got all the features that I can ever think of needing, or these are the features I want. So some joysticks will fill that niche. If you're buying a mid or low end stick, you definitely want to wait, because you need to know they've got all the features you want. And then again, with the high-end sticks, you don't want to think, oh, it's lacking something I did want, once you know more. Are you disappointed that salvaging has moved 2 patches back? We don't know that for sure yet. We saw that in the leaked roadmap, but as Chris said, they will be updating that soon, once they actually have confirmation of where it's all going to go. So that wasn't correct. That was them moving stuff around and trying to work out scheduling at the moment. When other stuff's moved back, it's disappointing, yeah, but I'm glad that they update the roadmap relatively regularly. I'd like them to be even more open when it comes to roadmap data and talk about it. Thank you very much for the kind words. I'm sorry for everyone else's pet losses. I know this is not going to be the same as like losing a parent or a wife or a lover or something, but I personally don't see how the team will be able to finish designing the rest of the units anytime soon, like if you go on the star map on the website. Okay? What? I mean, the procedural tech... So, if I got into a dev's computer, this is something I know from doing office tours, I could make a system in a few minutes. Okay? I could make the BoredGamer system, which would be bam. This is its own system. I could plop some planets around. Could have them procedurally generated based on I want an ice planet with I want an Earth-like planet with all of these biomes. Bam, 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 bam. And I want 3 moons orbiting it. Bam, 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 bam. And literally, pretty fucking quickly, I could have a system within an hour probably, fleshed out to an okay degree procedurally. The thing that takes a long time is the hero assets, and then working out. So the hero assets would be a particular space station, a statue. Well, the space stations actually aren't hero assets anymore because they're all being done procedurally. So they can do most of the stuff procedurally. If they have like accent pieces, like a particular statue, a particular sign, something that's very unique to each system, which obviously lots of space stations, lots of planets, lots of systems will have. That's what takes time, and they're working on that. So all their procedural tech allows them to do systems pretty rapidly. Obviously, there's lots of cool anomalies and stuff they want to do, but they're going to be reusing all of that. So literally when the Stanton system is done, which is probably going to be middle of next year, then all the other systems can be built out pretty rapidly. There's going to be loads of balance that they need to do, definitely, but... And it would be, if they had to create all of those things by hand, without the procedural tech that they've been building for many years now, that would be a hell of an undertaking. But it's a lot easier. Salty, don't worry about it. Good for you. Is there still in-game ship purchasing on the roadmap? Yes, Flymo. It looks like that it's going to be for 3.3, at least ship rentals, potentially ship rentals and purchasing. Doesn't really matter. It's the same sort of thing. Obtainable ships in the persistent universe. Yeah, so with any flight model changes they make, we just need to be vigilant as a community and make sure that they're doing it right and keep on voicing our opinions. That's the joy of it. That's the joy of the open project. Yeah, Star Citizen has taken a long time from its original sort of like pre-concept thing in 2011 till being worked on properly in the end of 2013, and then the building of the studios all the way up to 2015. And then the game at its current scope being built on properly, realistically, for the last 3.5 years. Maybe 4. What's your favourite gameplay loop at the moment, regardless of profitability or whatever else? What's most enjoyable? Really, for me, it's trading, hauling, the most mundane loop. There's nothing that I would say is my favourite gameplay loop at the moment. Unfortunately, in the persistent universe, there's just not enough of a reason to have game. I need to be able to buy things, like ships and stuff. Like, you do a few missions, you've got enough to buy all the stuff you need. So, I mean, the most enjoyable, well, probably mining, but it's pretty boring after a while. It's great for a tier 0 implementation of mining. Like, it works and it's pretty, and I can see that it's going to have great potential. But Star Citizen needs more work. Some of the missions are actually pretty cool. Pretty simple, but pretty cool. And you can see it's coming together, and the core of it's there. It's object container streaming, server meshing, and then stat system done. And then the gameplay loops, bam, bam, bam. How is long-range ships possible now that we have to stop at truck stops just to get to the next planet? Well, that's only for the smaller ships, typically. Larger ships are not going to have to stop to travel between systems. It's like short-range fighters. And ships at the moment don't have the correct quantum tank, quantum fuel sizes, and quantum fuel efficiency. They're balance and tweak it so that it makes sense. Short-range fighters, however, will probably have to stop once or twice to get to the next planet. They are not intended for to be used outside of a carrier or to go long distances without needing to stop. That's why you want something like a Banu Defender, which is going to be long range, a Vanguard, or a capital ship to carry them in. I've got all the referral code rewards. Yeah, I help referral codes with my Patreons at the moment. Did CIG ever mention whether we will get any kind of robots and droids in game? So droids and robots, that like for manufacturing stuff. Yeah, you're going to see machines and things. You're not going to see AI sort of like droids in game that will go fight for you or whatever. But you might see like Roombas. You'll see like droids used for manufacturing probably, but they're not going to be intelligent in any way, shape, or form. Because every time AI has been attempted in the lore, it's Star Citizen, it's failed is the idea. When scanning is implemented fully, like deep space scanning, hello, can you talk a bit about the current state of the game? Can we buy ships? Is there PvE missions? Yeah, there's PvE missions. There's mining and cargo running as well. There's an investigation mission, and there's a good set of modular, slightly different missions that appear. But they're all pretty simple fetch missions, or go here and kill this ship mission, or find a black box, or whatever. Some very basic ones. Go to a planet, pick the stuff up here. In 3.3, we're getting a lot more. We're getting FPS AI on the ground, so you're going to have NPCs flying around, fighting them. Then go to somewhere on the ground where there's going to be loads of guys on the ground with guns that you'll have to fight potentially, or sneak past, or whatever. So there's going to be a lot more with 3.3. The state of the game, I mean, it works, but very lacking in gameplay loops at the moment. It's beautiful proof of concept, and they're adding their tech as they get it in, but it's not a sit down and play game because there's no true persistence. There's nothing to work towards at the moment. But it's great fun to play with an organisation or a group, or making your own fun, definitely. You play it and you go, wow, this is pretty cool. Regarding your kidneys, I've got the same problem. I stopped drinking soda. I only drink water, tea. I drink very little caffeine. I don't drink sugar. I don't have sugar or anything. So mostly it's water and tea and green tea. And I drink alcohol very rarely. I can't subscribe to you. No! Yeah, my cat was my best friend. Yeah, definitely. Do you think we'll be able to ride on those monorails at Lorville? Yes, they're making one of the things on the roadmap is transportation systems. They're making the lifts better. They're making monorails. They're making public transport. It's actually one of the part of the procedural generation of when they make cities. They can set up districts, and they'll have public transport districts that will take you around on a monorail. Why won't they set it up so we can change lighting colours inside of the cockpits? They might in the future. There might be some customization of interiors in the future. Definitely be able to pick up objects and put them down. But I don't know if you're going to be able to do stuff with cockpit lights. I actually doubt it. Has CIG ever said...
little hobbitses.
Thank you very much, Matachi. Oh, Matachi, thank you. We do need to play together some stuff in the future at some point, Matachi. Also, I saw you playing Rend the other day, so I'd like to pick your brain on that. Once they fix some stuff on it, I'm happy to come over to some of the North American servers. Or I'd love to have you on the European servers to actually play as a group with some other people. Try and get like 15 to 20 people playing regularly on it, or cover all times of the day, potentially, because I quite like the idea of Rend. Yes, you love it at the moment. So there are issues with Rend for me at the moment. I need to be able to kick people from the server, from an official server. I'm a Warlord Elder on my server. I'm the top rank. But there was a clan of 6 that were on our faction that would just murder people regularly and steal everything and chuck it all on the floor. And they might not be griefers; they might actually be from the other faction. but playing on our team just to fuck us up. But that sort of stuff needs to be fixed. There were some other things as well. Like I'd like the reckonings to last longer with the PVE waves, because it's like 5 minutes and they're done, or less than that sometimes. But I want the big waves. Has CIG ever said that it will be possible to retrofit something like Cutlass Back with Void Armor? Potentially. So there'll probably be a lot of customization and lots of different items for different ships. So yeah, potentially different armor types like Void Armor, like Stealth Armor for the Cutlass. Lots of different items and systems and subcomponents to allow you to do something particularly well with the Cutlass, like Stealth. What do you think of the recent bad publicity that CIG seem to be getting these days from YouTubers? What do you mean? It's no different from normal. You get people that are the drama YouTubers or whatever going, is Star Citizen pay to win? Yes, because of this marketing practice. And I go, okay, well, cool, that's your opinion, whatever. Do you think they do it for the clicks, or do you think there's raising legit concerns? I think that sometimes they raise legit concerns. However, there is definitely a position of this is popular in the news at the moment, so I'm going to cover that. Whereas I just cover Star Citizen, so I don't feel that I'm as clickbaity. Yeah, some YouTubers almost certainly raise legitimate concerns, or stuff that we should be questioning and asking about, or putting pressure on CIG, or at least saying, CIG, look, you look greedy. It doesn't matter whether they look greedy or not. It sounds like a fucking good game. I don't give a fuck. But there's some legit concerns, but it's always masked by some sort of like, I'm an aggressive YouTuber that's really pro-consumer, and I was like, well, yeah, but you haven't done much research, or you've done really weird research, or you're drawing really odd conclusions from things.
Tricksy little hobbitses.
It's
7 months.
Thank you very much, Huntress. I love your face. Huntress is one of the best mods you could ever have for my channel. Thank you very much, Huntress. I love your face. You're the best. You are the best. Play Rend with us at some point. But yeah, CIG doesn't do themselves any favors. They need someone to vet some of the stuff they do, some of the sales they do, some of the marketing they do. If they were a bit more open with the community before they did something, like we're going to do this soon, if that's cool, then people would be less sort of like clickbait. Oh, someone on Reddit posted something nasty, and then a couple of media publications, or crappy websites, whatever, go, rah, backers are raising concerns over pay to win. Yeah, well, I mean, pay to win is something that we need to be aware of. Like, we don't want Star Citizen to be pay to win. They said it's not going to be pay to win, but we need to be vigilant. We need to make sure they don't fuck around with it too much. I think one of the other things is everyone defines pay to win differently, which is really annoying. And if you say, well, yeah, it is pay to win, because by my definition, any advantage at all ever is pay to win, and people can do that. Well, then, is a game definitely not going to be fun if it's even likely pay to win? And if you're saying, well, no, it can't be fun, and it is like this, well, then don't back it. Princess Damien. Thank you very much for the sub. I can't read anyone's name. I would say that CIG evolves their roadmap and evolves what they do. They give us an indication of what they want to do, and it changes and it evolves. You wouldn't get that if they were staying silent, and they wouldn't have so much criticism if they were just stum about it. However, they do shoot themselves in the foot, and they don't share it as often as I'd like. So there's definitely good and bad with the open development model they've got. But saying they keep on breaking their promises and stuff, well, they've done stuff wrong. Breaking promises is just an odd one, because you don't know that. You don't know if they've broken any promises until the game's released. You could say that they've been bad with release dates. Yes, they have. Look at the Star Citizen refund subreddit. I have. I wouldn't say that a lot of those people are particularly balanced when it comes to Star Citizen. But people should read everything they can, and if they're making decisions and stuff, I think everyone should be happy for more information rather than less. So, if it helps you make your mind up about something, read it. I consume every bit I can of Star Citizen data, good and bad, and opinion-wise, but yeah, what they're doing takes a lot of time, and they're being slow as well. I mean, they're I heard this is where I come to learn how to win Star Citizen. I brought my MasterCard. Great, Matachi. If you want to donate and subscribe, and then like and ding that bell, then you're much more likely to win Star Citizen. Thank you very much. Yeah, I think there is a level. Okay, so when it's talking about the original Star Citizen Kickstarter, I do think the original Kickstarter Star Citizens should be offered a refund if they want one, because the game's scope changed so much. But pretty much anything after that, that is, well, it was a pledge. They talked about that. It's a pledge for the game. A lot of people paid hundreds of thousands of hours, and then they have to do refunds case by case if you did want a refund for some reason. And for some reason is typically because people have put thousands of dollars into a game, and they go, this was a bad idea to put thousands of dollars in, or I need something to help with my medical expenses. There's no harm in asking if you need a refund, but I don't think there's like a refund cascade or anything. I've read and looked on the refunds subreddits. It doesn't seem to be that much going on. Star Citizen's funding seems to be pretty healthy. I think Star Citizen's starting to genuinely deliver now. Most people can agree on that. Yeah, it's been slow, but they're getting stuff in there. Yeah, stuff's broken. Like, they need to overhaul the IFCS, which is sort of like, for fuck's sake, come on. You should have got this right a while ago. And they should have. But as long as they do get it done by the end of the year, their quarter releases are a boon and a blessing. And the fact they are producing videos on Star Citizen every week is a good thing. Question in brackets if you actually want me to zone in on it, because otherwise I only read it if my eyes pick up on it. You know, like reading happens. Do you think we'll see more races in the game? Because we saw the new Vandal Blaster Lance. Yeah, so we'll see more races at some point. We saw the Vandal walking around as well. We will see the Devaran and the Turtle Boys and the Xi'an, that's the ones, and the Banu. We won't be able to play as them, probably until like after release, so it's a long way away being able to play as one of those other races. But we'll see them in game relatively soon. Like, maybe by the end of next year we might start to see aliens. Sort of thing. Maybe that's the sort of thing I can imagine seeing at next year's CitizenCon. Do you think Microtech and Crusader will be added to 3.6, 3.7? Yeah, so I think that we'll see the rest of the Stanton system next year, yes. Hopefully by the middle of next year, by 3.7. Yeah, it was, as original backers, I just think the scope changed. I wouldn't have been interested in Star Citizen had its scope not changed, to be honest, at all. Like, I'd be like, oh, it's a cool space game, I'll wait. But because its scope changed and because it became like a mixture of cool stuff from Eve and all these new mechanics and this massive universe and FPS shooter and Chris Roberts and pretty games and all that sort of stuff, it all became pretty cool. How can this game be considered not pay to win if between now and a possible release date a single player can buy millions of UEC to use in game? How can that not help that player's org and possibly organisation more if player uses that UEC to buy hundreds of missiles, for example? Got to stop being naive. Vox, I would also say that defining pay to win is one thing. Inequality is another, and the economy is another thing as well. So if an NPC's got better stuff than you, are they paying to win? Are they better than you? Does that ruin the game for you? Can pay to win still not be fun if you do define any advantage as pay to win? Yeah, org v org. If the orgs are at war at day one, if some org has more players or more players and more money they spent on it, they probably do have an advantage day one if they're all in the same system doing the same thing. There is going to be inequality in a game. Do you want 100,000 people to start off in the same system with auroras all flying out? That doesn't make any fucking sense. Also, then you have the problem with people's time. Like, anyone that joins in World of Warcraft now, wasn't Eve now, have you instantly lost? Eve isn't really pay to win, but you can pay to win. WoW, you can pay to win if you wanted to. You can buy stuff off the black market. So there's lots of nuances going here. I'm not trying to defend the... Well, I suppose I am, but I'm not intending to defend. It's not my job to fucking defend CIG, because they shoot themselves in the foot all the time with stuff like this. But all I'm saying is that just saying, oh, pay to win, shit. or how can you say it's not pay to win? Well, it's because we don't know yet. We don't know definitively whether it's going to be pay to win or the best game ever until it's more of a game, until it's released. So we need to be vigilant. We need to make sure that we put pressure on CIG. We'll make them at least aware that it would not be acceptable for anything to be deemed as pay to win once the game is released. Everything needs to be obtainable in game. There needs to be not a stompy, look at my org, it's just better than yours because I've got more money than you, IRL. There's lots of stuff. The economy needs to be balanced properly. But a lot of your combat and stuff is going to be versus NPCs and PvE because it's 9 to 1. When a possible org war, a possible PvP encounter where both players have the same ship, that's a very odd thing. Like, well, yeah, if both players are one-on-one fighting, for some reason they've both turned up and one of them's bought a better ship than the other one, has better components, then yeah, they'll probably win that one-on-one encounter. Why are you having a one-on-one encounter with a better ship? But if more ships turn up from the other guy's side and kill them, then they've got all the salvage. Nom salvage that ship up. So, yeah, the one-on-one encounter thing is not realistic either. But it's something that needs to be addressed closer to the time. We need to make sure that it isn't pay to win. But pay to be advantage doesn't ruin the game. That's the other thing. I think there's an assumption there that any form of advantage ruins the game, which it clearly doesn't. Star Citizen would have been funded if that was the case. And EVE doesn't have that. EVE is fun still, but again, it's not my place to try and defend them. I cover the game. People will say that I'm a shill or paid by them, and I think, you're wrong. I'm not. I received a teacup and a saucer from them. I did not receive a computer from them. I've not gone to an event paid for by them or anything like that, where they've paid for me or anything like that. So I always take the content creators and content in consideration. If most of a YouTuber's content is clickbaity and shock type argumentativity, yeah, it's easy to see if they're pricks. It's a bit extreme, but you know what I mean. Like, they cater for their audience. So I cater to my audience. I'm relatively pro Star Citizen because I genuinely believe in the project and love following it, and I love the community. If Star Citizen did stuff that I didn't like, I would talk about it, but I'd still be respectful to my community. Yeah, I mean, there's a bit of research you need to do before buying Star Citizen, I suppose, because you are, after 30 days, your money is effectively locked in. You can't take it back out. It's 14 days on paper, but they allow for 30-day refunds. As backers, we should always be concerned about Star Citizen development, since we want the project to be successful. But as far as claiming this or that is all opinion until much after the game is officially live. We should share our voices, but at the same time not make assumptions, both positive and negative. Yeah, that's probably true. I'm probably a little bit overly positive about general talking about things, and negative when I don't like something. You know, everyone has personal bias. It's all good. I'll try and cover the stuff as neutrally as I can, but all of the stuff is based on CIG's news that I do. I love the project. I think it's cool. It's yeah, a lot of people just basically saying, oh, it's obviously this, or lots of people think this, without sharing any fucking information, or citing a source, or citing some sort of bullshit source that's just someone's blog post. Go, oh my god. That's the sort of information I have to deal with. They go, well, look at the roadmap. Oh, the roadmap's a lie. Ah. They've lied before. Okay, cool. So you've got no proof then. You've got no information. Good job. Thanks. I know I'm not, because I'm only using bots. What's this about? I'll rebuy the game when it's finished. That's a good shout. If you're not enjoying following the project and being involved with the giving feedback and that sort of stuff at this stage, then don't get involved. Like, the game's not for you yet. Yeah, I saw Turk stream. He had some thread up which someone posted all the games that have been published in the time that Star Citizen has been around and died and risen and fallen, etc. Yes, things have happened since Star Citizen has been concepted. I will not deny that. Things certainly have happened. My cat died. He didn't get to see the finished game. I appreciate you're awesome, the news source from non-CIG perspective. Appreciated. But I mean, a lot of my stuff does come from CIG, but I also get a lot of it from Reddit, and I get a lot from Spectrum, and I try to absorb every point of view that I can, even if it's a genuine trash article that is just like entirely unresearched. But it gives good indication of what other people think or what other people are willing to write about. Do you think they'll actually be able to make it so we can build bases on parts of moons, asteroids in the future? With talk of underground facilities. We're definitely about to have outposts, and I hope that we can have more than just outposts. We're going to be able to defend, we're going to be able to put turrets and things. I love underground facilities. I think underground facilities for, like, storing ships and things make a lot of sense. So hopefully, yeah. Yes, they're pushing with the economy now, so they're making the economy more dynamic. So they've got Trade Slayer and Price Fixer or something, which basically analyzes the value of resources at that current time, and then applies how much resource and how much time it would take to actually build that resource into an item to work out the price of an item. And they're doing that for ships and stuff at the moment as well. Do you think player-controlled banks will be a thing? I think players will be able to lend each other money, and you might be able to do it in a form of contract. It depends how robust the contract system is. I'm hoping incredibly robust. Everyone can win in Star Citizen, in my opinion. Thanks, Matachi. You're always a winner to me. Just depends on what your goals are. You set your goals and set out to accomplish them. As far as starter ships go, you can drop a load of money. We'll start with the starter ship. My neighbour just spent 10k on a Chevy. Most people choose to upgrade to a different ship rather than drop tons of UEC on upgrades to a low-cost vessel. Yeah, I think... Okay. So, everyone can win. That's great. If everyone's having fun in the game, or at least most people are having fun, yeah, if the game is fun, that's the most important thing. Accessibility to play the game. Accessibility to be able to do everything you want to do. Yeah, some stuff's going to have to be ground for. Some stuff you're going to have to join an org for. If someone is like, oh, it's going to take me 2 months to earn enough UEC by grinding to get a constellation solo, then I'd say that's probably about right. You want to probably buy it, that multi-cruise ship, with 3 other people. And then it will take you, what, a couple of weeks. Boom, done. So there's a lot of balancing that needs to go on with the economy. And it's important that the game is not pay to win. And being not pay to win in my mind is that I don't want people to be having a crippling advantage if they are able to pay money for something. I don't want them to ever be able to buy something that someone else can't buy. If you see what I mean, it's like, oh, this is entirely locked by money. I want someone that has got just an Aurora, just a $45 game package, to potentially be as successful long-term or mid-term as someone that has bought a load of ships. Obviously, you can work out the nuances and stuff of that as well. But balance and economy and lots of other stuff need to be done properly. And as long as it's similar to EVE, with the way they do ISK and Plex, that's fine. But do you think CIG will flesh out custom/landing? Yes. They're going to have security booths, and they're moving away from armistice zones so that everything's going to be handled by AI and NPCs when it comes to security. Will we have hidden compartments or forged documents to sneak past contraband? Yeah, so there's going to be ways of getting items in past security. There's going to be ways of smuggling things in, and we just don't know exactly how that's going to work yet. What ship is flying in the background, and will EMP come to the Cutlass? I don't know. It was either the Idris or it was the... it could have been a lot of different ships, unfortunately, as that was a while ago. 10 minutes ago, apologies. 10 minutes ago would have been Avenger Warlock, or Avenger Titan. There might be an EMP module for the Cutlass in the future. There might be EMP generators, little ones, like the Saber Raven has. Can we all come to your house for Christmas dinner in December? No, but I probably will run some Bar Citizens or some fan events starting soon, if people are up for that. Do you think Chris Roberts is happy with the progress in the time elapsed? I think he's probably happy with some things and not happy with others. He probably looks at the project in lots of different areas. He's probably relatively happy with Squadron 42, because it's really annoying that I can't talk about everything on Studio Tours, but he's probably pretty happy with Squadron 42. Star Citizen's Persistent Universe is taking longer to get stuff out, but is going. I mean, they're starting to now prove they're able to do what they can do, and it's just taking a long time. Which is why they're getting attacked in different ways now. It's sort of like, this game's going to be pay to win. It's not the game's never coming out anymore. It's the game is taking too long and it's pay to win. That sort of stuff. So, do you think we'll be able to keep being in the UE Navy on the open world? Maybe. There might be factions and stuff as well. So maybe the UE will be a mission faction that you can continue to be. Do you think the turret and scanner on the Aquila will be swappable? Probably. They need to have as much customization as possible for the ship's weapons and everything like that. But if there's not enough customization with components and subcomponents and weapons, then it just won't. It needs it. Obviously, it's not going to have to have as many as Eve, but it needs to have a lot. Do you think we'll see some major surprises at CitizenCon? They're definitely holding some stuff back to show us. So, almost certainly. It can only be pay to win if there's such a thing as winning. No, so, okay, pay to win is defined by different people in totally different ways. So, but basically, the worry that I assume that people have that are genuine about it are, does the ability to pay for things in-game give them an advantage which stops other people having fun, stops them being able to compete, that sort of stuff. Rather than, oh, they've won by buying. Well, what they mean is, can you stomp on everyone else by buying stuff in-game? With additions like FPS gameplay, boats, tanks, and other unique factors complementing the core space sim, what do you think is going to be the potential of this game as a physics sandbox? Well, they've shown lots of the grabby tech they can do, and they want to be able to have private servers and mods for it, so potentially it could be great. Potentially you could have galaxy-wide Gmod. This was one of the things I'm hoping for, or at least system-wide. What do I use to polish my head? It's actually naturally shiny. That, and I generate a lot of salt, so I just use that. Star Citizen's way less pay to win than Eve. Well, mainly because you can't win at anything in Star Citizen at the moment. Star Citizen will have 9-to-1 NPC to player ratio, so no matter how powerful your fleet is, the game can always kick your ass. That is true. But we don't. One of the other issues is we just don't know yet. The game's not done. It's going to be scrutinized to fuck, though, so it's very unlikely to be pay to win in the worrying way. But you'll always be able to prove something with stats. Like, they'll be like, more players is more successful that paid $100 than people that paid $45. That's probably going to be true, because the people that paid $100 are probably mega fans. They're going to be playing a lot more. I've heard this game is very expensive to play. Only in computer resources. You can buy a $45 game package and then have access to the full game when it goes live, and you'll be able to obtain everything in game. It's not a pay to win game. Fuck you. Psh. How far off do you think the Crusader Cloud Tech is? They've been working on it for ages. It looked like it had moved to, what was it, 3.5 or 3.6 in the roadmap. So we'll have to wait and see when they change the roadmap. Is the Million Mile High Club still a thing? Yes. I have access to it because I have over 2,000 or over 1,000 referrals gives you access to it. 1,024, I think it was. 1,042, actually, probably. That makes sense. I hate to break it to you, but I always buy anything that I think will give me an advantage in any game I play. That is what every game does. I honestly can't think of many games that do not have some aspect of paying for a preconceived advantage. Early access, head starts, better starter weapons, etc. Oh, Matachi, I know what you mean. I very much used to be like that with certain games. But I got burnt by Evolve and a few others. And I go, well, if I cannot have fun with the base package of a game, then what's the fucking point? I genuinely think you will be able to with Star Citizen. There's no advantage to owning a capture if you can't crew it. You could sell it. You could sell it to someone that can. You can make a lot of money from it. MMOs are never fair. That is part of what a MMO is about. In the end, it only matters if we get access to the same tools in the end, not at what points we're starting at. It's an interesting thing, because I'm very pro equality of opportunity in my real life and my politics and my ideals, but not equality of outcome. And this is literally the opposite in game. There's literally the opposite, but it's different, obviously. Because inequality does exist, and it actually helps complement the system, in my mind, having people at lots of different levels immediately start with different economic variables. It makes things a lot more interesting.
Tricksy little hobbitses.
Thank you very much, Von Doom96. Love your face. I'll be streaming again. Well, I'll stream like every Sunday, Friday, or Monday, Friday from now on. We'll do some talky talks. Have you had a chance to check out the New Man's Sky multiplayer update? Yes, it's pretty cool. There's still not enough there for me, really. It's find it relatively boring, even multiplayer. But it's pretty chill. If you want a super chill game, pretty fucking cool. And it depends on the people you play with as well. You can chill out and or just chat on comms with them, which is a lovely experience. I think what it is it's a little bit too chilled for me. And, because I need a direction, I need more of an end goal that the game is telling me to try and do as well. Which maybe if I stream it, I actually will have. But it's too hot in the UK at the moment. For chill out games, it's too hot and muggy. I guess with my experience with Eve and other games that have the same model, makes me confident about how Star Citizen will work and not to be pay to win. We as gamers use that term too loosely in order to combat publishers like EA, which the combat is good. Yes, that is good combat to stop EA from selling Darth Vader. Fair point. But the way the term gets thrown around is highly inaccurate in many cases. Yeah, it just comes with lots of assumptions. It comes with... people use it as a derogatory term by saying the game is shit because you can't play it unless you're paying to win. That's the sort of assumption there. That's the underlying sort of thing they're saying. Typically, is what I assume. I'm sure not everyone is saying it for the same reason. Raging Sarge, thank you very much for Sage. I love your face. Question. Have we got any official word on transferring money between players yet? I think it's going to be part of the contract system. It will be in the game. I think it's on the backlog. I have asked that question before. I did get an answer. I think we're getting it quite soon. They're constantly updating the contract system with each major patch. So we should hopefully have a more robust system pretty soon for transferring money and stuff. Hey Bored, will we ever be able to join multiple hangars together, like the original hangars we used to have? That's a good question. I don't really know now, because the hangar's getting implemented in game. So yeah, I suppose you'll be able to all go into an actual hangar together, the persistent universe hangars, but they don't want to have them modular off. They don't want them to have them as a separate instance. Although they technically might be a separate instance in the PU, but... Is there any numbers of how many backers have backed with $45 and how much is backed with more? I will try and find some numbers, and I'll actually do a breakdown at some point. I think it'll be interesting. Is the reclaimer currently bugged? There's probably bugs with it, yes. I couldn't get the lift to come down in the hangar or in the PU. Heard anything? Yes, I had heard something actually about that bug. I can't remember. Obviously hasn't been fixed. Do you think we'll be able to fly to other systems soon? Probably not until next year. At the earliest. Probably not until next year. That's sort of like... I know people are like, well, surely you should have more systems before a beta. Well, yeah, probably will, but only probably just before. They can actually generate systems pretty quick, but they need jump points, and they are working on other stuff like the gameplay loops. Do you think unlimited org sizes are going to be problematic to the economy? Yes, I do. I do think they need to limit org sizes, or after a certain amount, have some sort of like tax that reduces the amount of money everyone makes to help break down orgs into smaller areas, smaller orgs within orgs and things like that. But yes, Like test is it's a massive org, and how can you manage that many people as well? Tens of thousands of people. Oh my god! But yes, I do think that they need to restrict the size. Do you like the updated Mustang Beta interior? Yeah, and the 300i as well. I'm liking what everything's looking at. What do you think about Pay2Win? Nice. So if you talked about it already, what do you think of the freelancer pick that they posted? Kind of looks like the max. Which one? And was it in the monthly report? I'm not sure if I've seen it. Feel free to post it to me. Post it in chat. Do you think the hacking system will be robust enough to allow the hacking of player bank accounts under certain circumstances, having a bounty, etc.? Probably not. It's going to the hacking and stuff is going to be very restricted to certain things, I suspect. Maybe a little mini game, but it's not going to be this crazy system that allows you to access very specific details and fuck around people's bank accounts and stuff. Do I think orgs will be able to own that in space stations? I hope that building and owning space stations is a thing in game. No, I was using Eve as a example of you can pay to win effectively in Eve with Plex if you wanted. You can buy Plex and then sell it for money. But Eve is not considered play to win. Pay to win. It is play to win. What's my professional opinion of the Carrack? It is one of my favourite ships. I need to wait until I have more of it and they talk about exploration more before I have a final opinion or more of a developed opinion. I think some of the pay-to-win concerned people are worried about bored billionaires griefing like we see other space games. Do you think CIG can do a good job of running that? Yeah, I think they'll do a relatively good job, but some people are naive if they think that some people are not going to find ways around that, and that in Eve you get griefing, you get people blowing each other up in Jita and the system. So that stuff's still going to happen. It's hopefully going to be relatively rare. What I want is people to want to play the game and not be bored. I think that's one of the other ways, like big penalties for griefing. But keep people interested and engaged and wanting to make more, and then that will happen less. But I don't think the whole universe is going to be happy Careberry. I think it's going to be a lot of PvP in some of the systems, especially the more dangerous ones. Wouldn't having an expensive custom skinned item get you mugged? Potentially, yeah. But you probably won't be able to sell stolen items very well. You'll have to trade them with other players directly, and they'll be able to see that they're stolen, probably, or sell them to a fence, which will get like 1/10 of their value for or something. So I think they've got 120 systems planned. I'm expecting sort of like 40 systems at release. And then them add more every month sort of thing. Have you read the book Free, A Radical Price? No, I haven't, but I will check that out, actually. It's an audio book. I will listen to it while I go to sleep. Just like you said, some people simply don't have the time to earn. You see in game, in Second Life, you pay to rent property. Yeah, as long as the game's fun, pay to advantage, as long as it's not too extreme, is fine. As long as the game's great, as long as you don't need to do it, as long as someone that puts in more hours can match you. Is watching BoredGamer UK stream a form of face over IP? Well, technically, I suppose it is. Hopefully we'll be getting lots of different cameras soon as well. As someone with a solid mid-range PC, at what stage of development do you think Star Citizen will play reasonably well on my setup? Middle of next year, probably. Genuinely. Like, they'll probably have integrated Vulkan by then, and there'll be a lot of performance updates, and object container streaming will be dialed in. Any plans for CitizenCon? We joined the Rejected stream like last year. Noobify wanted to do something, so we'll probably organise something. I'm actually going to be away for CitizenCon now, at Private LAN we call it. Just unfortunately it's happened at the same time, and I promised to do that with my friends a while ago. Also, it would have been difficult for me to get to America, so... but I'll do something on the 10th, definitely. Either a live cast or something with Neepifire or something. Squadron 42 estimated release date within a year-ish. Do you think the current amount of money Star Citizen raised would be enough to finish the game? Yeah, I mean, probably. They'd have to get rid of some staff if they did that. They'd have to restrict the teams and... yeah, I do think it would be. It'd be enough to get Squadron 42 out and then use the money from Squadron 42 to finish off Star Citizen if funding dried up today. But they'd probably have to lay off some staff. How will persistence work with hangars and living quarters? Actually, go back to the last question. I want them to spend, like they said, all of the money they earn for a released game on getting Squadron 42 and Star Citizen as good as it can be. That's what I want. Like, the more money they make, the better it can be, technically. They're not using it to unjustly enrich themselves. They're not using it for some form of scam. They are hiring 500 plus employees to make the game. That's one of the reasons they've got it. They've in the North and the UK as well. They get 25% like tax reduction. The taxes and the government incentives to running game development in the UK is massive. And people up north in the UK earn fuck all money. Like, it is, they probably earn much less than they should. Like, a lot of the time I see on like Reddit, like, oh, they earn 40, 50,000 each a year. It's like, they're probably on 20 to 25, the average wage in the UK up in that studio. Like, how persistent? Oh no. How will persistence work with hangars and living quarters? Will we be able to plop our hangar anywhere, or do we need to pay a premium for optimal locations? I believe that when the game goes live, effectively, you will be able to choose certain locations to have some of your starting hangars in, but not all of them. Not all the locations will be
Tricksy
available. It'll
little
be like, these are
hobbitses.
starting locations you can have your hangar in. Anonymous, thank you very much. Appreciated for the sub. But yeah, other places will still be available to rent or to buy property in and stuff. But oh yeah, that is the freelancer. It didn't clock in my head. Thanks, Bloodguard. Appreciate it. That's cool. It looks like a big interior, doesn't it? How long until the next ship sale? Well, let me tell you. I can actually work it out. So, it's a few days after this one ends. The Apollo. So, Apollo to the rescue. Let's see when this... until the 22nd of August. 22nd of August is a Wednesday. So, on the 23rd, 24th of August, we will see another concept sale of a vehicle or ship. That's my expectation. Probably a pretty accurate one as well. What starter ship should you get? Get the Mustang Alpha. Yes, you want an SSD. And look around, look at some reviews of them, because you can get very cheap good ones now. You can also get very cheap shit ones. After your economy discussion on Redacted, do you think to advertise sale of goods outside the current star system, you should pay for data transfer data to systems you want to advertise? Yeah, I think there should be ways of being able to get data between systems when it comes to economy stuff. Whether you've got to pay a service for that or whether or not it just allows you to do that. But people will have websites almost certainly pretty quick that will have updated data on all of the systems, so you can do things like that anyway. If the game is overly complex with data, then people will find ways of sharing that data in an easier way. Are you concerned that this game will become a grind or hard to get into for those working long weeks with families? That's one of the reasons they want the ability to buy UEC. I'm okay with the game being a grind, or having some grind elements, missions and stuff, if you want them. As long as it's not a constant grind for everyone all the time, even if you're in an org that has stuff already. Like, the idea of being in an org is that you can have weekend warriors. Like, you can have guys that come on just the weekend, and they can join your org, and your orgs make progress and done lots of cool stuff, and they can crew the ships and stuff. It's cool. That's a great thing about Star Citizen.
I couldn't choose a
games
sound
like
bit
Eve did not
posted,
appeal
so
to
I
me
decided
because
to use this.
Oh, Captain Kim, thank you very much for the host. I love your face. Just talking about Star Citizen, just chilling. Captain Kim, great Star Citizen and other game streamer. One of the most polite people that I've ever had the pleasure of viewing. Games like Eve did not appeal to me because of the grind and time needed. So I doubt the stuff's going to be as grindy as Eve. Eve has a lot of stuff that are intended to be grindy, because some people enjoy that. It also has much higher action areas and gameplay loops for people that want to do that as well. But the skill system, that's grindy, and there's time needed, and there's people can then think about what they're going to do with their characters. So the sort of stuff that you can do in Star Citizen, learn to be better at the game by being good at it. You don't need to skill up in it with like a skill book that takes 3 weeks to learn or whatever. You fly more and shoot more things and go, I'm better at shooting now because I've learned how to do these maneuvers, IRL, well, in the game, but you know what I mean. How far away do you think the gas giant tech is like Crusader? Probably by the middle of next year we'll have Crusader in-game properly with the landing zone there. So take that as you want it. Do you think we should be able to buy goods in different star systems and can pay for shipping, but this is physical and can be intercepted by pirates? Yes. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Definitely be able to do contracts and stuff like that. You want cross-system cargo travel and transport, definitely. You want missions like that are dangerous. Ironic, I know, but do you not get bored of Star Citizen? I get bored of playing it regularly. Like, I can sit down and play Star Citizen for a few hours, and if I haven't got anything to do after that, I'm not playing with anyone, then I'll do something else. I'll go and play a different game. There's a lot of fun that I have Star Citizen, and there's a lot of joy, especially during new patches and stuff, that I will play it for lots and lots of hours in a row until I get very tired, and then I have to sleep the next day. But Star Citizen promises to me to be a fucking amazing game when it's done. And I suspect I will sink many years of my life into it. If they add drivable civilian land vehicles in the future, do you think it will be called Car Citizen? I do think there might be some public transport, because there's going to be public transport. I'm interested to see if there's going to be civilian land vehicles. There probably will. There's going to be boats, so why not civilian land vehicles? How many parts of Squadron 42 do you think we'll see before Star Citizen releases? That's a good question. I'm hoping we just see Squadron 42 Episode 1 before a Star Citizen release. Although we could see Episode 2, potentially. How hard do you think it will be to effectively crew fleets and cap ships? I don't know yet. I don't think it will be particularly hard. To run them effectively for operations will probably be relatively difficult. It's going to be like running a raid for the first time in WoW. It's going to require communication, understanding how everything works, a bit of trial and error. An argument against paying is that people with both time and money will dominate. We need to wait and see for that. Like, there's going to be orgs fighting at different levels. In a 1v1 fight, someone with time and money would dominate someone with only one of them. Yes, in a 1v1 fight, given all other things equal. That's what I think. But that's not the case in Star Citizen. Time frame on hireable NPCs for multi-crew ships. Don't know. They're working a lot on the AI now at the moment. AI can run crew stations and stuff properly now themselves. But I don't know when that's actually going to be hireable NPCs in the game. I'd expect it potentially the end of next year, though that might be a little optimistic. One of the other things I'd say about money in-game dominating, it's like, okay, so I play and I've got a prospector in-game, yeah? Go prospector. and I hit a massive payload. I find a huge asteroid field that no one else has found. Okay, and that makes me a fuck ton of money. I sell it to an org for an inordinate amount of UEC. Like it's worth a capital ship, and I get that in week 3. Does that then mean I've beaten someone else? Does that mean I've got the pay to win for that? Because I've more time in that and I had a prospector to start with. There's so much inequality in Star Citizen. There's so much stuff that's going to be stories to tell. So much that's going to be unfair or super like over the top. Oh my god, you're so lucky. Like, and if you have those arguments about, well, it needs to be all super fair, and well, it's not going to be fair. Like, some people are going to find and salvage an Idris. They're going to just like turn up and go, this is amazing, or whatever, or freakishly win a battle or something like, and that's going to make them a lot of money. What's their business model once it releases? Well, they've said that they're going to evolve it if they need to. They're going to be selling in-game currency, and they're going to be selling game packages. I suspect they still have concept sales, but that's not confirmed. Totally simple. Yes or no? Do you think Star Citizen is worth buying now? Yes, only if you want to follow the project, participate in the project, and by that I mean, do you want to play the alpha, whether or not it's a buggy piece of shit or not? Because sometimes it's going to be super buggy, and they're after your feedback. So they're after your feedback. Can you go onto the forums and Spectrum, report bugs? Can you say, I really like this, I don't like this, I want this to develop, or whatever? If you want to do that, then yes. If you don't want to do that, then no. You have to wait until it is more of a game. It's not a sit down and play game yet. You sit down and you test and mess around and go, I really like this stuff, I really hate this stuff is broken, this is buggy. Love you, Captain Kim, mate. That is a word. Sustainable. Good job. Is that you say, Bolt? Any idea what location will be available after Hurston? Yes. ArcCorp. ArcCorp by 3.4 is the idea. So that's the city planet we saw in last year. If an economy arises around manufacturing and selling of vicious black liquids produced from wood and other hydrocarbons, should they change the name of the game to Tar Citizen? I hate you, Titan, for that. Well, I do hope there's actually manufacturing in the game, though. That's one of the things I actually want. And I don't do anything just like basic drug manufacturing from the science ships and research ships and the Endeavour and stuff. I mean, I like the idea of being able to build munitions and weapons, and potentially even ships. If Star Citizen ultimately ends up being distributed in a file format that requires unpacking to play correctly, will it be rebranded as WinRAR Citizen? Like, why are these... Theorycraft for me, how long do you think in real time would be a good amount of time to travel in-game from one end of the universe to the other? Is it, what, linear now? A long time? I don't know. I don't even know. So it takes, for a long-range ship, half an hour to travel from one end of a system to another end of a system. And then multiply that by whatever length of systems you're going. You're traveling to each of them. That's going to take you a long time. I control and play Star Citizen at the moment on a mouse and keyboard, typically. Logitech whatever the fuck it is, G502, great mouse, and a mechanical element, cheap, but mechanical keyboard, which is pretty cool. If offered, would I take Disco's job? No. But I will happily give Star Citizen and CIG advice entirely freely if they ever want it on tagging, vetting, stupid marketing ideas or videos, or advice on promotion stuff. Lots of stuff that I would do differently, but that's me personally. I'm not going to overly criticize someone else. Also, I don't know what Jared does. Lol. No. Shit. Cornical Devs is a masterpiece there. I will give people that. One thing bugging me is when a server meshing comes through, will all servers be joined to make a single shard? Or will we have region-based servers? That is a very good point. The intention is to have a single shard. However, I talked to Aaron about this on my studio tour a while ago, and it also looks like they would be considering region-based servers as well, especially in the shorter term. Obviously, we've got regional-based servers at the moment, so in the short term, yeah, probably regional-based servers. But I think they're going to try and make a single shard if it's possible. All the data, I suspect, will be fed onto the God AI, so everyone will still be in the same universe, effectively. And you'd be able to play in other people's servers if you wanted to, I think. But I'm hoping that the EU and American servers are definitely all the same. I can understand them having an Asian server that's different, because different languages and different sort of like internet protocols and shit. You see what I mean? Well, languages, anyway. If we're allowed to take on more musical professions in the final project, do you think they'll allow us to play early 2000s music trends? If so, will the game be called Scar Citizen? Oh my fucking god. I started reading that and I was like, it's going to be another one of these. And I was like, oh, it's not going to be another one of these. Oh, that's cool. Oh, no, it is. All these dad jokes! Don't like them! I love them. After full launch, subscription for persistent universe access, would quality maintenance make it worth it? Yeah, it would for me. I wouldn't want subscription-based service for the first few years, though. But afterwards, I think if they need it, if they need a subscription to keep the game going for quality maintenance and more updates, yeah, fuck it, why not? The freelancer DIR apparently has limited onboard fuel refinement capabilities. Okay. This is correct. Is the DIR more viable long-range exploration ship than it was a few years ago? No, I suspect that all exploration ships will have a relative level of fuel intakes and refinement qualities. That's going to make one of the things that make them explorer ship. It might be better at it than some of the others. I suspect that it will be all of the variants that are geared towards exploration are going to be good for exploration. I'll elaborate on Squadron 42 when we see episode 1. How long will it take to complete? Do we get all the episodes of Squadron 42 or just episode 1? So, Squadron 42 episode 1 is what Chris Roberts was talking about in the original Kickstarter. Episode 2 and episode 3 are effectively their own games and are relevant for it. They haven't broken Squadron 42 into sections by going, let's chop it up into 3. They are their own things. I think the idea was with Squadron 42 episode 2 was just going to be like a mission disc originally. But they're all effectively the standalone AAA games. And episode 2 and 3 will be released 2 years after each other. So when episode 1's released, in about 2 years later, episode 2, and episode 3, 2 years after that. CIG's marketing team has done some missteps in the past. I wouldn't say they're terrible. You see, they've done some missteps. They are able to generate huge amounts of money. They are responsible for the most successful Kickstarter and most successful crowdfunded thing of all time. You would not be able to take his job. I don't think that shark cam would fit on your head. There's a helicopter going over my house because I live near a hospital and there's a helipad on the hospital. So hopefully it's no one that's exploded. Can we all agree that it's paid to develop and have a hug? Yes. I also charge for hugs. Any other questions? Let's have a look. Bored, you okay? You've not been streaming in a while. So yeah, I've been depressed and anxious and stuff. Got problems with my kidneys. Well, got problems with my kidneys, but they don't know what's wrong with them now. So they're having to ultrasound my belly to make sure I'm not pregnant, but also to check my bowels and liver and around my kidneys and stuff. So I'll keep people updated on that. I've been feeling a bit better though, so being a lot better to be honest. However, my cat died recently, and he was my entire fucking world, or at least a very, very big part of my life. Like, I love that cat. He was my best mate, quite genuinely. Don't give a fuck if people think that's sad. I love that fucking cat. So I've been pretty down, but I'm so backed up with work. I've got to do stuff about Stream Deck and the Verpal joysticks, and I've got enclosures with 1080s and 1070s and ultrabooks and shadow stuff. Yeah, I'm pretty behind on my work. Are you looking forward to FPS AI combat at perhaps Outposts, etc.? And what are you excited about with that type of gameplay? Well, it gives missions much more complexity and fun. AI combat on the ground is going to be a great time sink and allow for a lot more variation of missions. It's important, it's integral to get it in early as well so that we can develop it and evolve it. But hopefully we might even see them in Rex and stuff in space as well. Star Citizen was modelled after BoredGamer, would it be called Egg Citizen? Thanks, guys. It's just some sort of meme that I'm not aware of. It just started the stream. What would CIG have to do to make you stop supporting the game? Make a game that I wasn't enjoying anymore. Clearly do something that was bad or terrible that I went, oh, fuck no. So if they change the scope massively again, if they, and I didn't like it, if they were embezzling money, if they, something like that, there would be quite a few things that would make me stop supporting the game, to be honest. They haven't done any of them yet. Is there anything I think Disco could be doing better? Yeah, probably. I mean, he doesn't have all the time in the world. I don't know exactly what he does. Like, he's probably involved with a lot of sections of stuff, including community management to some degree. He'll have to absorb a lot of data from CIG and from the community to be able to do video content management, which is what he does now. So there's probably a lot going on there that I don't know about. So yeah, everyone can be doing something better, and I could probably look exactly stuff. I mean, the Star Citizen YouTube page, there's lots of stuff I do differently on that, with the way the videos are displayed, what tags they're using, descriptions they use, making sure that you tag and reference YouTubers and used footage better, stuff like that. More community engagement with videos, things like that. Although and some of that stuff they do evolve and they do test.
Dodging bullets like
fucking Bloodguard, thank you very much. I love your face. And I love Cameron's face that was there, the cringy face there. Will we be able to Skype in-game when FOIP releases? Also, sorry about your cats. We'll be able to FOIP in-game when FOIP releases. I think the idea is that, well, there is going to be a Moby-Glass app that allows you to talk to each other. I'm just not sure if that's going to be in 3.3. So whether you're able to Skype in-game in 3.3 for the FOIP release, I don't know. You'll definitely be able to talk to each other face-to-face. The weapons you buy, how and when can I use them? Like versus AI, or is it PvP based only at the moment? You can use them for both. If you buy a weapon in-game now with Alpha UBC in the persistent universe, you can attach it to your ship, use it against anyone.
Oh, beautiful.
In 3.3, we should be able to buy more stuff. More stuff will be integrated with the game. You'll also be able to go into Arena Commander or Star Marine and buy items straight from that menu as well. Do you know if we'll be able to get involved in the government of the UEE? Don't know yet. I suspect there will be missions that help promote and push that type of gameplay, or factional dominance, potentially. I'm not sure if that's going to eventually become something a bit more roleplay or involved. Do you see the Hercules Starlifter playing a big role in the universe? Yes. I mean, it's going to be the way that vehicles get to the ground, the large vehicles and tanks, and large amounts of people and things, so yeah. Thanks for the love, I appreciate it. Bored, you're a good guy. Thank you, I appreciate it. But I mean, I'm blunt and I'm honest, and I think about things before I say them. Not all the time. I'm bipolar. I see stupid shit sometimes. I love my community. I love covering the game. I feel very privileged to be in a position where I can play some games and research what I love every day, and then make videos on that and make money from that. Very much appreciated. Will there be a big performance boost using an M2 NVMe drive versus a SATA SSD? I think so. The load times are absolutely great on a good NVMe. So, do you think the roadmap will expand into further detail for 3.5 once OCS goes in? Yes. Yeah, 100%. They'll keep on updating the roadmap. The closer we get to a release, the more detail goes into the roadmap for that release. Do you think all minigames we have now, like Hyperforce, the Orion mining game, Apollo minigame, etc., will make it in-game so we can play them on the Moby Glass? Probably, though they might evolve slightly. That's the sort of stuff I'd expect to see them do. Like, we'll get them in at some point. You plan on going to next year's CitizenCon in the UK? If it's definitely in the UK, then yes. Look at that pretty boy streamer. I'm sure you're in a boy band in the 90s. How am I doing? I'm doing good, thank you very much. I was in a boy band in the 90s. I was born in 85. Do you think we'll be able to play as a space bartender? A bit like the scene in Star Wars Holiday Special. If so, will the finished product be called Bar Citizen? No! I got treated again! Damn my inability to read. I hate you. I'm a huge fan of all your videos. I'm a huge fan. Watch all your videos all day. Huge increase in shenanigans and culk because now there is Watchika and that's better. Thanks, JB Gaming. The weapons you buy, we've already talked about that. You need names. What do you need names? What's going on? Right, any other questions? Microtech for 3.5? No, I don't think so. Microtech's more complex planets. Well, they just need to get the domes right. Maybe you could see Microtech. I'm expecting to see Microtech in 3.6. More likely to see like Crusader in 3.5. Name of the boy band. Real round eggs. Yeah. Something like that. I don't have any good. No, I can't use that one. We used to have a pub quiz team name, which would now be seen as so politically incorrect. Feel free to come up with the beautiful boy band names for me. Has anyone got any other questions? How long have I been streaming for? Is it a couple of hours yet? Planning to stream twice a week at least now, Star Citizen wise. So a lot of talking about Star Citizen, some playing. I'll be getting probably a gameplay video up once a week as well. That will look at a mechanic. I'll probably do like cargo this week. Any news on the Banu Merchantman? So they've done some of the internal white boxing for it. And planned out the shapeology of it to some extent. The Banu Defender, once that's done, which is pretty damn soon now, once that's done, then the Banu Merchantman will be worked on in earnest. Because they need the materials and they need the that sort of stuff for the Banu Merchantman to finish it. Are there any plans for sharing your whole hangar with your org? I suspect so. There's going to be lots of org features coming in the near future. I'm expecting you'll be able to share ships with other people properly pretty soon as well. Did we get details on how no-fly zones will work? Some kind of force field. Oh, okay. So expect. Do you remember in the original CitizenCon 2016 demo with the sandworm? Expect to see like environmental hazards which will damage your ship, so you'll be encouraged to fly away from them and land elsewhere. I expect there to be air defenses pushing your ship away, rather than a force field, rather than just a kill box. It'll be damage. Like, oh shit, I better get out of here. Or maybe your scanners won't work in an area, so it'll be so hard to find something there that you'd have to land on the ground. Backstreet Eggs, thanks. Many other bipolar citizens you know? Anyone we know? There are a couple, actually. There are a couple of people. I'm not going to out them, even if they've already outed themselves. But there are certainly a few around. Other content creators as well. They're relatively open about their depression and stuff. But I'd hate to diagnose some of them as bipolar as well. I think some of them are probably bipolar or manic, whatever the term is now. But yeah, it's nothing to be ashamed of though. And just some people are going to be private about that. Because I don't mind talking about it and saying like, well, just I can deal with it. I think I'm very, very privileged to be able to deal with it and manage it in the way that I do. But I don't think everyone has the same like. I don't give shits about stuff. Like, I'm cool to talk about myself. Do you think they'll add the ability to? Do you think when they add the ability to play music with some clacky controller that it will be called Guitar Citizen? Did you play an instrument in that band? If so, we called. It's the same joke! Could we be a singer in Star Citizen? Could we call it Pop Citizen? Any info on when they will bring any auto landings to planet services, or we need to fix manual landing? That's good. Good question. Like with the new IFCS, they're obviously going to need to overhaul some bits and bobs like that as well. I don't mind them having auto landing for planets if you hold N. Just it slowly lowers you down. However, I think it's pretty easy to land anyway. Player owned repair drones on the roadmap a while back. Yeah, and they still are. I think they in the current roadmap that's 3.6, they've been pushed back to now or something. Do you play D&D? I have previously, yes. I have seen Critical Role with Matt Mercer as well, or McCree, as they call him. I love Matt Mercer. I think he's the best GM in the world. I want to do some roleplay on the channel at some point that will be pen and paper D&D-esque stuff, whether it's Star Citizen Run or Cthulhu or something. Since the Endeavour will have the option to have agricultural domes, I wonder if we'll be able to grow and produce and make preserves, and then call it Star Citizen. No! You know, the thought of getting together with other bipolar creators for charity stream or show. I mean, I just get together with creators, like, I don't feel the need to glorify or specifically go, chat, look, we're bipolar, woo! Like, I don't know, this feels weird. Like, I'm happy to talk about it. I'm happy to work with other people and charity fund for mental health in general. I think a load of people, huge portions of people, have mental health issues in varying forms throughout their lives. I think it's very important. But I typically don't want to draw attention to any specific part and just promote, just bipolar disorder or something like that. And I want to talk about it more generalistic. I think there's a party next door or something. I had weird noises. When will Chris Roberts buy the rights from Star Wars to add lightsabers to Star Citizen? Well, I suspect that stuff like that, mods, Star Citizen, Battlestar Galactica, will be handled by mod system after the game releases. Are domes the hardest part of Microtech? Isn't weather and ice harder? Well, they've got ice and stuff. The domes, Microtech's architecture, and weather. Yeah. Weather's something that is should be starting to come in this year properly. Bipolar Citizen, wow. I had the theme of the game is switching to show off beautiful bearded men who use ships to conquer British islands, and the name will be Viking Citizen. Thanks. Empire Citizen, British Citizen, Britain Khan, woo! I haven't watched all of Chris's interview yet. Did he really say he would like the flight model to be more expansive? Yes, he did. I'd like to think that, by the way, with the Lumberyard being on Amazon and Bezos being so into Expanse, Bezos, how long before Expanse game? Oh, that's a good point, actually. I think we'll see an Expanse mod for Star Citizen at some point, probably. We'll probably see an Expanse game in a couple of years, probably. Or at least announced in a couple of years. Me being bipolar makes me twice as interesting as other people. No, it makes me salty and ragey and erratic. Unfortunately, very manageable, but when I play games, I get very stressed. We'll be able to have space pets. Yes, pets are in the backlog at the moment. I think we will have pets at some point, or have yet to be put on the roadmap. But pets are a thing. There will be a lot of doors to open inside the Terrapin where you can repair stuff. Will they update other ships accordingly? Yes, so ships a lot of them already have those areas that you can open. Well, you will be able to open components. They're just not openable yet. So yes, There will be components inside ships that you'll be able to get to and modify, put in sub-components, take out components that break, things like that. Sorry if this has been asked a billion times, but is there a time frame that they plan on adding in-game purchases, not just rentals, to the game with currency? Well, you can buy items and weapons now with in-game currency with Alpha UEC, and potentially that will also be ships to buy in 3.3. However, they also suggested that it might just be rentals for 3.3. But it's relevant because it's going to be reset every database update anyway, so rentals are pretty much the same to me. As long as ships are obtainable in-game in 3.3, I will be happy with in-game currency. I don't like gating. I don't like saying you can only do mining if you've got a $155 ship. That's just like, oh, fuck off. Will we be able to make money transporting living cargo? Animals, perhaps. I believe so, yes. And I hope that is definitely a thing, because they've talked previously about having different atmospheres and things living in different atmospheres on your ship. Do you think Terra will be the next system, or they do Pyro Magnus first? Well, they've sort of done Odin. And we've seen Planet Lear 3, things like that, so we don't know. I suspect that Terra will be a little bit further down the line, because it's probably one of the most complex systems. That and Sol. So, is there potential in the way future to sell and chop lumber? They've talked about stuff like that, but I suspect there might be money in gathering organics, lumber, plants and things. There's going to be farming to some extent. Space lumber, might be rare. Once they have female model done really well, can we call it Brass Citizen? Fuck you, Fondu. Hey, Bored, did you buy an Apollo? No, I did not. I've got a Endeavour and the Hope upgrades for it. In fact, I have an actual master set for the Endeavour. But I am going to be playing some Monster Hunter when it comes out on the PC in 4 days. I'm hoping that's actually going to be a good time sink when it comes to games that I just chill out and play in the evening. Rend, as soon as it gets its big update, I think, as soon as it's able to deal with griefers on servers, I'm going to play Rend a lot again. I really enjoyed Rend, and I want to play that. So I'll probably be streaming both of those bad boys soon. Will we get a warning when opening doors, like the rear door on the Cutlass that opens to space? Yes, I suspect so. I suspect it will actually come up on MFDs and monitors soon, because that's the sort of stuff that you want to be able to do when multi-crewing or crewing a ship. Do you think we'll be able to use salvage holds on the Reclaimer for cargo in the future? To have cargo stable, you need to have mag plates. So maybe, if those have mag plates. Would they do a temp jump point to get all the way to Odin? Oh yeah, they could do that. So they could open up jump points in Stanton that don't necessarily actually will exist there in the game. Like the Levski, Delamar, that's not supposed to be in the Stanton system and will be moved out at some point. Right. Any other questions? Because I'm going to go host someone else and I'm going to go eat. Will Orville be fully complete in 3.3, or will it have areas locked off because they haven't finished modeling them? It won't be fully complete. It might not have areas locked off necessarily, but it won't be fully complete. They're going to keep on evolving it. There's lots of stuff they want to do with it. What would you like to be revealed for the first time at CitizenCon this year? Aliens, alien animals, jump points, new biomes. There's billions of things. There's millions of things. Multiplayer capital ships done properly with boarding. What am I going to eat? Curry, probably. Why does Chris Robert hate robots? They just don't want like super powerful AI. I think it's the idea. I suspect we'll have droids and things for manufacturing, but they'll be sort of like machinery, not rather than walking around. When we were able to loot NPCs or players, I know that is coming soon. I'm pretty sure it's in the backlog to actually be completed now, because they had it sort of semi-working a while ago. So I don't know. Maybe this year, actually. Now that she's bigger, any word on what's the largest ship that can fit in the Carrack? No. We don't know until it's fully built out. Then we can work out the metrics. We'll work out what the actual largest thing that can get in there is, and what's the safest thing to get in there. Provided people can taxi you place to place, they can do that now. How much of the game do you think could be played without ever owning a ship? simply doing work on planets themselves. You could also crew a ship as well. I think that some people will effectively live almost entirely on planets. I think some people will grind in facilities and things. So, and I think some people will enjoy that. And there'll be a lot to do there as well. So, yeah, I think that's viable. How would I like long-range scanning to work? I don't know. I mean, obviously, in the short term, I want it to be able to detect things that will probably appear on my, not just my HUD, but obviously on my mobi-glass. I mean, that's all I need. All I need is for it to go, there is something here, and now it is a travelable location on my star map. That's all I need long-range scanning to work as. How much of the cities will be walkable? Large portions of them. Some of the interiors will be done as well. More than necessary, but not the entire city. There's going to be public transport. There's going to be other landing zones, not just the hero landing zones that we're talking about at the moment. So not just Lawville on Hurston, there will be others that we'll have reasons to go to. I hate to backseat doctor, although I've worked in theatres 15 years. Try to stay off spicy foods until you get the kidneys sorted. Oh, they're not particularly spicy. It's like a yeah, it's not a spicy one. Don't ships have AI of sorts? Yeah, but they're talking about intelligent AI that can compete with a human. Like, talk to a human. Go, hello, I'm an AI. What would you like, sir? Sort of thing. What do you think of the suggested travel times? Personally, I like them. Yeah, I like them. We just need things to do in ships, reasons to have them. The issue is that they're great on paper once the rest of the features are in as well. But having huge travel times, but not much else to do, and then not much of a gameplay loop when you get there at the moment is going to be aggravating to some. And rightly so. Right. Let's see who else is around on the Twitches. But thank you very much for the subscriptions. Let's see who else is. Thank you very much for the love. Thank you very much for the bits. I appreciate it muchly. I will be around again more regularly. We will go and host Detox TV because I love his face and he's doing some interesting things on the Star Citizens. But you take care, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Let's double check to make sure I've got no last second messages. Do you consider your head to be hard-boiled or raw? Hard-boiled. Do you think we will be able to walk on a street with just a bit of stops all around ArcCorp? Oh no, I think that there'll be areas to... I think you'll have to move around a bit around cities, but I don't think there's going to be free access to move around for miles and miles and miles and stuff. It is going to be mainly the landing zone and reasons to be there, but I suspect there'll be a little bit of extra movement as well. Is there going to be lockers and weapon racks in the Avenger Titan? There's going to be a weapons rack, I think, of sorts, even if it's just behind your chair. I'm not sure about lockers. I suspect there'll be a little locker. Do you think I had pets like cats and dogs? Yeah, there's going to be pets in the game. Right. I'm going to go host Detox. Thank you very much for watching. I love you guys. If people want to support the channel further, feedback, email me, jump at the Discord, discord.gg/BoredGamer. Talk to me there. You can Patreon, which is always helpful. You can donate, you can send bits, whatever. You can also now, on the YouTubes, click on the join button and get channel membership there, which allows you, I'm going to match that level with the appropriate level on Patreon as well. Plus, you'd get emotes on the YouTubes to use in comments on videos and during live streams. But I love your faces, guys. Thank you so much. Sorry that I haven't been streaming for the last couple of weeks, but as I said, I had a rough time with my cat dying and with my kidneys, although I do feel a lot better kidneys-wise, even though they still need to check out because it's not kidney stones, apparently. I actually had two cats, but one of them was technically my brother's, but this one was like mine, and I fucking adored it. So I've still got another one, and I don't want another cat. I want my old cat. I want to spend an extra day with him. So I'm going to mourn him appropriately. I don't want to just move my love onto something else. Like, it's not... I miss that cat. That's what I want. So I'm just going to mourn him, and I'm going to chill, and then I'm going to look after the other cat and give that a fuck ton of attention. But I'm sorry that anyone else has had loss. I'm sorry, dude. Your cat has also died. I apologise. I'm sympathetic. But, you know, it's life. And it's lame. And it was just that it was so shocking. It was unfair. It was really unfair. But anyway, thank you very much for watching, guys. I love your faces, and I will be streaming a couple of times a week, Star Citizen, and potentially some other games like Rend and Overwatch and Monster Hunter very soon. But check out Detox. And I'll, yeah. Mwah.